Hey everyone, Shaun Stevenson here, author of the Throne series, and I've got a Goosebumps review for you. A Goosebumps review of Give Yourself Goosebumps, book number 28, Night of a Thousand Claws. Okay, let's talk about this book. First of all, this is in the Give Yourself Goosebumps series, so it's like a choose your own adventure. So it's not like a straight read through kind of book. You have different things happening. You have to skip around, make choices, all kinds of fun things. So that is the basic setup of the structure of this book. You cannot actually read it all the way through. Now, this one has 26 different endings. 4 of them I would consider good, and 22 of them are bad. In fact, some of the 22 are so bad that you're thinking, wait, the characters, you just killed them all. You killed off every character with that ending. That happens in this book many, many, many times. Oh boy. So this book is about a family who goes to the beach for vacation. But when they get to this island they're on, they're kind of warned by the taxi driver, do not go out at night. And they're kind of wondering what's up with that. They're also staying at the house of this lady named Katrina, who everyone kind of seems to think that she is not all there. And she is something else. And in fact, she might be. And so, as they soon discover, this island is full of evil cats. And it is up to you to save the day from the evil cats. Now, I gotta say, this book had a really fun beachy vibe, actually. I was not expecting that. I did not expect it to be a beach-type story, except there is a lighthouse on the cover I did not really spot because it is kind of small there. But this book had a beach vibe to it. So this is kind of the perfect summer reading Goosebumps book, which I thought was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It had a lot of fun twists and turns as well. And what's interesting about this one is, unlike The Scream of the Evil Genie, which is the only other Give Yourself Goosebumps I've read, that one, it was more cohesive all across the board as far as the storyline goes. This one has multiple storylines, like completely different what's going on answers. So you have situations where there's like mad scientist stuff, you have like supernatural cats, you have all kinds of different scenarios that are going on, and it just depends on what you choose that gets you to the different places. Now, one of the things I really enjoy about R.L. Stine's Give Yourself Goosebumps so far is he does not create choices that are like, oh, go in the haunted house or go home. I wonder which one will be a better choice. Like sometimes in Choose Your Own Adventures, they have choices that are just like, duh, the book is called Entering the Haunted House. I'm not going to go home because that's going to be an ending. And it is an ending. You know, you go in the haunted house because that's what the book's about. Like it just, sometimes they're really dumb choices. This one does not have any dumb choices. Everything is pretty interesting and pretty good choices that leave you wondering, ooh, I actually really don't know what I should do. There's actually some different things that could happen. And you, like I said, you get to very different storylines depending on what you choose. Now, Scream of the Evil Genie, that book had a lot of loops in it, so you would make a bunch of choices and you would actually sometimes end up back at an original spot where you made a choice and you make another choice. So that one kind of looped a lot. This one doesn't loop except in one spot. And the other interesting thing about this one is there's some different kinds of choices here. There's one point where you actually write down on cards 2 different things and you put them in your pocket and you just randomly pull one out and that's the choice you make. There's also one where you have to pick a number, and depending on what number you pick, you go to a certain spot. So there's some interesting different things. There's also a situation in one spot where if you've collected an item at one point in the book, something different happens than if you don't have that in your possession at that choice. So I thought that was really interesting. There's also a couple moments where you have to kind of solve a little puzzle and remember some things from earlier. And if you don't remember, it leads you to one thing. If you do remember, it leads you to something else. I thought those were all really interesting decisions that you had to make as you're going through this book. Now, I will say, spookiness-wise, I didn't find this one scary at all. I don't really find evil cats that scary, except in Cry of the Cat. That was a little more disturbing in the series 2000 book. That was a little bit more on the disturbing side and a little scary, but this one is more just a little bit silly. And some of the things you get to, you're kind of wondering, what now? What's happening here? So that was kind of interesting. And there are some wild endings. Wild endings. There is one that I literally sat there and I thought, huh? What just happened? That is totally out there. That's very interesting. So there's definitely some fun endings. Now, I will say this one has some really long paths to what I would say is the good endings. Like I said, there's 4 of them that are like good outcomes, so to speak. They still have a little twinge of, ooh, that's not so good, but it's better than the other 22 endings that are downright bad. And you have some long paths to get to those ones. I actually made a chart where I charted out all the different ways you could go and the different things that happen. And that helped me make sure I got to every section of the book, because I want to make sure I get to everything in the book when I read these. Sometimes some of the endings come right off of one choice. So you like make one little choice, and instead of leading you along a little path, it's just right to an ending. So I thought that was a little disappointing sometimes, but overall it was pretty well done. A lot of fun. Definitely, if you like Give Yourself Goosebumps, this is definitely one to read. If you are not a super fan of the Give Yourself Goosebumps, this one's skippable in my opinion. I don't think it was like the most amazing. I don't think it was bad. It was like a good entry in the series, so to speak. It was a lot of fun, and I definitely enjoyed the random endings. This was a buddy read I did with Mr. Mortman's library, or AKA Brandon, and we were messaging each other back and forth about, did you get to this? Did you get to that? Have you been to this yet? And it was kind of funny just to talk about the different areas that we got to first and what was going on. We also were trying to see who got to an ending in the shortest amount of time. And I think I did, because I chose something that led me right to an end. So it was pretty fun to do a buddy read on this one for sure. So at the end of the day, this was a good one. It wasn't the worst. I'd probably give it a solid 3.5 out of 5 stars because I enjoyed it. I don't think, like I said, if you're not a Give Yourself Goosebumps fan, don't worry about reading it. If you're a fan of Goosebumps and you want to read it all, go for it. Even if you're like oh yeah, I really like Goosebumps and I like Give Yourself Goosebumps, go for it. You'll enjoy it. It's good for a read. Definitely some wild endings, like I said. And especially if you're a cat fan, don't worry, the cats are all fine in this book. So until next time, everybody, keep reading. Bye.